Hello and welcome to Fulhamish full-time after a 0-0 draw with West Ham United at Craven Cottage. My name is Jack Collins and joining me, Mr. George Cooper.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, mate. And Miss Isabelle Barker. How are you?
Good, thanks, Jack. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Not quite as despondent as perhaps some people are after that, but we'll start with you. Another draw, another game without a win. That's 12 without a win for Fulham, and not really what we needed.
No, definitely not. I think collectively as fans and the players and everyone who represents this club, we've realised that we've got to go, it's shit or bust, basically. We've got to go gun-ho, go for the win and, just what have we got to lose now? And I think we were so happy kind of scraping draws with the big sides, kind of shock draws and that ripple effect we were kind of feeling. But now it's like, no, actually, we need to be winning games. And still it looks like our identity and plan in attack is kind of lacking, but I guess well go on to that a bit more. But with West Ham, the only thing I can say is that their kind of play, they like to absorb teams that kind of go all gun-ho and for the win. So maybe that slightly played in our favour, holding back a bit and holding on to that kind of draw.
Yeah, absolutely. And Coops, I mean, again, it's another point. It's another point against the side doing well. But even though, if you'd looked at this in a vacuum, 0-0 against West Ham with the positions of the two sides in the table, not awful. But outside of the vacuum, especially with Newcastle winning today, it feels like not enough.
Yeah, it does. But I think we need to look at this result in the bigger picture of this final push. Like, yes, we arguably could have done better. I mean, we got nothing going forward. But I said this just before we joined, that if you'd have told me 0-0 against West Ham, this current West Ham in the form that they are currently in before the game, I'd have been like, I'd take that, because I was expecting us to get absolutely smashed today. And we didn't. And we got a valiant draw. And I think that going all guns blazing and getting beaten 4-0 would have been detrimental just on every single level. And like, we got a point. Like, that's, I don't think it's like that. But like West Ham, they got 5 wins in the last 6 games. I was expecting us to get absolutely pummeled today, and we put out a good performance. And yes, our finishing is atrocious, but we had 17 attempts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just take that and I can flip it on you and I'll give it to Iz. But I wouldn't have taken a point before today. Would you, Iz?
No, I think that's what I was saying. It is like, I think we've been kind of, Scott as well has been setting us up to kind of just play for the draw. And I think we were all saying
we weren't playing. Sorry.
Not today. I think before we have. And I think there had to be that mentality shift where it's like a loss would have been better than a draw type thing. I mean, if we'd have just gone for like a shit or bust, like gun-ho and gone for it. And yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Like, you've got to kind of, I don't know, take some chances when you're at this point, because like you say, these draws are just getting us nowhere.
He brought on 2 strikers though. Like, we did
with
go
with 10
for
minutes,
it.
with 10 minutes to go.
We went like all out, I think. I don't think you can fault the players for not trying and not actually genuinely going for a win. I don't think Scott set up to draw this game. We played 4 at the back, which was a change from our usual 5. Like, we genuinely threw everything that we had at our disposal at this game, and it just ultimately wasn't enough. But I think it's unfair to say that we didn't try and win this game. I think we genuinely did.
No, I do think we did. I think it's before this game. I think we've been in this headspace where we have been just like playing for draws. And then I agree with you today. I think the way we were set up, looked completely different. And I think it was okay. I didn't expect us to even set up like we did today, because I think against West Brom and the likes of that, it's easy to go to a back 4 and be more creative when you're playing a team that's kind of similar in the table to you. So I didn't really expect it against West Ham, like I was saying, and it doesn't really suit us against West Ham to go all out for the win, but we did. And I think I'm kind of just talking about the mentality shift before the game.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I think all of that's right. And this is from Peter Proverbs, who says I should have turned the TV off and hit the Guinness. But Chris Lewis maybe made the better point, which was, thought we were decent today. We just don't have that Premier League edge to take chances. Now, this is probably it, right? And I think there's maybe a middle ground between both of you. I don't think that we were brilliant today, and I don't think a draw is a result I would have taken. But at the same time, I was pleased that we went to 4 at the back. I was pleased that we moved into a position where we started to take control of the game to try and impose ourselves on West Ham. And I guess it comes down to the fact that it's very difficult to look at it and be like, we haven't done what we needed to do today, but the finishing was just really poor. And if you do that, then it becomes very difficult to win games.
Yeah, definitely. I just feel like, as I was kind of saying, I think our identity in attacking grew throughout that game, and that was a positive thing. But still, it just felt like the crossing, the counter-attacking, the through balls, like it took a long time to get going, and we weren't really able to kind of pull the defence apart. Like it took our time to use Lookman's kind of trademark run on the left and really utilise that with Robinson. But at least it came, at least it grew, and yeah, there are a lot of positives to take from that performance.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, we feel like we're going over the same ground. Proud of the effort tonight. Usually, I'm very critical. They gave it everything. Let's break up this by talking about the red card at the end, because there's a lot of comments, and we've got a West Ham fan here, the Dalek, who says no way, not a red. Jack Ralph thinks it was a red all day long. Isabelle, your thoughts?
Well, I think I was kind of saying that if it had been Alexander Mitrovic in the mix, putting an elbow out, then it would be an instant red, as we've kind of seen before with that Leeds incident. And it is an elbow, like any other player. Like it is a red card in the nature of football today. So yeah, you're just gonna have to suck it up, Hammers fans. Sorry.
I don't think it is, but I agree with you. I think that there is a point to be made that if that's Mitrovic at the other end, he gets sent off straight away. But Coops, that doesn't necessarily make it right.
Nah, it was. I remember I said on the Fulhamish WhatsApp group as soon as it happened, when Mike Dean went over to the bottom, I was like, "This would be so Mike Dean if he sends him off for this," and then he did. It never a red card. It was so obviously accidental. West Ham will appeal it.
I don't know.
What is his arm up there for? What is his arm up there?
He moves his arm out that way. It's just unnecessary. Like you know, if you're a player of that caliber, you know your peripheral vision, you know your spatial awareness and who's around you. You know Alexander Mitrovic, it's not hard to miss. You know he's there. So why are you putting your elbow out like that and they're not going over his head? That I just think it was slightly dangerous play, to be honest. And in the nature of football today, that is a VAR check and it's a red card. And I don't think it will be overturned. I don't think it will.
I think it will. I genuinely think it will. I think what happened was there was Mitrovic is tussling him, and then he's just trying to get out of the way, and then he's not even looking, and then he just catches him. It's not intentional. It'll be overturned. And then, like, the thing that's like so pointless about it is that like it happened at like the 94th minute and it had no effect on the game whatsoever. And they even retook that free kick that was in the build-up. So it was just such a pointless exercise, the whole thing. And yeah, it was comical, to be honest. I don't think it was a red personally. But however, I do appreciate your argument, Isabelle, obviously. But it's just one of those ones, isn't it? Like it's always, with VAR, you're looking for, if you look hard enough on VAR, you will be able to find like something, exactly. Which means like, but I don't know. You've seen them given, you've seen them haven't.
Yeah, I think so. Someone's made a point here that a Serb and a Czech facing off in a box is never going to end well, and I think that might be something. Look, let's talk about the final third. Let's talk about the fact that Cav played a lot. We missed two big chances. Cav, I thought he did okay. He works incredibly hard, but again, that lack of clinicality is proving a problem, and it took so long, Coops, until we saw those substitutions. The 80th minute before Maja and Mitrovic came on. Yes, I appreciate your point that at the end we sort of went kitchen sink at it, but Kevin Hudson here says, you know, we need to solve that problem quickly, and it does seem that without Mitrovic or Maja, we really did kind of struggle to create in that final third.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, how many times have we said this? It's the thing that's going to kill us, and ultimately, I think, will be the reason that we go down. And when Cav missed that chance with his signature move of the skying it, leaning back, it's just like, come on, you're a professional footballer, man. How many chances are we going to miss? I was getting so animated and so angry. And it's weird because we're creating the chances. We just don't finish. We haven't got a finisher at all. And I don't know. I'm hoping that Magic can be Pavel Pogrebniak Mark II and just pluck it out of the sky and save us. But I just don't see it happening, to be honest. But yeah, the chances are there. I think this formation is a positive thing and we're moving in the right direction. But if you haven't got someone in the box who's putting them away, then ultimately it's all futile. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's it. And I kind of coming off that is Ruben Loftus-Cheek today, again, I thought much improved. Last couple of games, his moving central seems to have started to find his groove behind the striker. If only we could find someone to put the ball in the back of the net in front of him.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's such a broken record, isn't it? Like so much build-up play and never that kind of final bite, I guess, when it matters. But for me, I feel like a lot of people were kind of saying why is Loftus-Cheek being bigged up so much by the pundits? But I genuinely thought he had a really good game. Like I just slightly listened to it on the radio and you keep hearing his name. And then I also feel like he seems to play better when Mitro hasn't started with him. I think he seems to link off better with when we've got pacier kind of wingers, and when Lookman's kind of in that left-hand side again, thank God. I think they worked really well together, and Robinson and Cav and Bobby, I think he bounced off them really well. And his physicality is something that brings us so much. You know, it was a really nice kind of tasty matchup with Declan Rice, and obviously he lacks this composure when it matters. You know, he had I think 2 golden chances when it's put kind of on a plate for him, and how many chances are you gonna get now? You could argue some of them were a bit of an awkward angle, but he makes a nuisance of himself at the very least, and I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah, I
agree.
Gotta kill it. Something that bugged me was the amount of set pieces. And the one that landed bang on Tosin's head for the second game in a row, and again didn't result in a goal. Look, I appreciate he's getting into good positions. I appreciate that today it kind of came out of nowhere. But at some point, he's a big geezer. Goops, he's got to stop putting these in the back of the net, or it really is starting to become curtains.
I know, we need to start thinking of these Fulham, as someone mentioned the other day, the Fulham bingo card. So commentator mentions a Lookman penalty. Caballero sky a ball that's he should be hitting the target.
You can make it into a drinking game or something.
Yeah,
no, I don't think we need that. I think we're already in bad drinking straits with where we are in the table.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, Tosin missing an absolute plum header. I mean, it's the thing, like how many times we say, yeah, it's gonna come. But I feel like we're just gonna be saying that until we eventually do go down. You know me, I'm an eternal optimist, and I feel like, yeah, I can't see a way back at this stage unless today could have been the result, could have easily been the result that turns our season round, and it just wasn't to be. And I feel like the patterns are starting to cement themselves in.
Yeah, I mean, yes, and maybe it comes down to this: do we need those changes earlier? Do we need to mix it up quicker? Does Parker need to be more proactive when it comes to decision making, especially in games like today where we were in the ascendancy and weren't able to make it count?
Yeah, I think so many times Parker has got it right, but one thing he doesn't really seem to do is react. Like he sets us up really well and obviously does his homework, but then he doesn't kind of react to kind of changing events in the game, I guess. And you could see David Moyes proactively making changes earlier, and then I think I put down about 70 minutes in, we still hadn't made a change, and it was kind of death or glory. And considering the bench we had today, it was so much better than I think we had against Chelsea when we were missing so many faces. I forgot that we could bring Zambo on. Having someone like that on your bench is amazing. And he came on and he was kind of saying to Parker, this is the reason you start me, by the way. He looked amazing. But yeah, you're right. That's it. He needs to make them quicker, because I don't think Mitrovic needs to play the whole 90 minutes, but he does make a difference when he comes on. So bring him on earlier, because, they do make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, and a point though, Zambo was brilliant when he came on, Coops, and I know you're not the world's biggest fan of Zambo, or haven't been in the past, right? But I also do think he needed the rest. I do think we got to a point where Zambo was starting to look knackered. We weren't seeing those drives, and as soon as he came on, beat 3 players in one of those driving runs that we haven't seen for a little while. It was nice to see him with a little bit of zip and verve back in his game.
Oh, 100%. I feel like he needed to be rested and come off just to give him that extra 10%. And yeah, he's been looked fatigued. He hasn't looked full fitness, and I feel like we're going to start seeing that more and more with our other players, like Harrison Reed, for example. The amount of energy that guy brings in our centre sort of midfield. Like how long is he going to be able to keep on doing this for? You know, the fixture list is so strenuous, and Zambo's been the first one, and we're going to have to see a bit more rotation and be a bit more creative, and it's going to hopefully something that Scott can sort of step up and manage well. But you know, it's only a matter of time before we get an injury, and then things could start looking, you know, not all that positive. But yeah, Zambo did look great when he came on, and I will say that I've fully come round. I was critical because of that season that we went down last time 2 years ago. I just didn't think he gave enough. But no, I'm a big fan of Zambo nowadays. Like, I don't want to be tarnished with that brush. And
you really don't, because you look like a right mug.
It's a bad brush to be tarnished with.
I stand by my previous comments.
We'll move it on forwards, and I think this is, you know, where we'd go to. Maximus Timberlake, great name. The starting 11 from Scott today was bang on bar Cavallero. Give Madger a start next game, anything for a different option. I hate hearing people shouting for the sacking of Scott, and I don't think anyone here is. But I'd move it to you. We've got Everton next Sunday. Would you start pretty much the same side, but perhaps with someone else up top instead of Cavallero?
Yeah, I think it was pretty much bang on today, but and it's hard because what is Cavallero's role really anymore? So it's really hard to kind of analyze it, and because he does something, he brings something to the, like, with his creativity, his how dynamic he is, and his pace, but we can't keep being a broken record about our chances. So yes, I wouldn't start Madger though. I think he did okay, but I don't think I really saw enough of him to be starting in the biggest game. These are the biggest games of our season at the minute. You know, they're defining. They're our last chances. So I don't think Madger really did enough to warrant a starting position. And I think it's a bit disrespectful to Mitrovic, considering he's not been terrible, to then start Madger over him. So yeah, maybe, but then again, Cavallero does bring something. I don't really know if Mitrovic.
We don't know what it is, but he brings something.
I'm not really sure. I don't know. I'm confused. Yeah, maybe you can enlighten me a bit more.
No, it's not that. I think it's a strange one. Obviously, Scott likes him. Scott likes strikers in that mold. We've seen another 2 huge chances missed by Cav today, and much as I do like his work rate, much as I do like how much he presses, if we are going to go for that, then Madger is, I think, the solution. But today we saw ourselves put Fulham into the final third. We imposed ourselves. We had control. We had a foot on the ball in the West Ham half. And when that happens, suddenly you want a Mitrovic in the box to hold it up and lay it off and all those things. So if we want to play on the break, fine. Play Madger, play Cav. But especially when you change it to kind of give yourselves that foothold, it doesn't then make sense not to have a striker in the box. And I suppose that's the frustration. We're moving in the right direction, but whether we're moving there quickly enough is another question. Look, Matteo Garris put this into the comments about 2 million times. One, have a beer, mate. And 2, he says Ruben Loftus-Cheek's decision making is atrocious. Never makes the risky direct pass. Always keeps it and turns back, and got to finish his chances. Finishing is poor from him. Now, there are some valid points here, I think, in that, especially in the final third, he is slow. Although he does carry the ball beautifully in that kind of middle transition place. But I just throw it to you, Coops. We don't really have any options because Tom Kearney is injured. I don't know who else you play in the 10, and without Ruben, I think I thought was good today. To be honest, I thought he's had a couple of really good games in a row. Yes, he continually needs to improve. I'm not suggesting that this is the be all and end all, but I'm not sure that this is completely fair.
No, I personally feel like he's our best option. As you say, mainly because we haven't got any other options. But I feel like Ruben is, although his performance, the thing is that because we all know how good he can be, that's the reason why he's getting so much stick. Let's face it. Like, we've seen what he did for Crystal Palace that season. We've seen what he's done for England on occasion. Like, we know how good he is, and we've got him now, and we're thinking, right, where is this sort of magician who's going to pull us out from the relegation zone and fire us onto, safety? And we're not getting it. I think he's become a bit of a scapegoat, to be quite honest. I think he played well today. He's played well in other games, but I just think, I don't know, we haven't got any other options. And he played well today, and he does, as you say, in that transition in the final third, he glides across the pitch. Yes, his decision making is not great. Yes, his finishing has been poor, but we need to stick with him, and we need to hope that he starts performing better. Because as you said, Jack, we just don't have any other options at the moment.
Absolutely right. We'll move. Okay, shouts out to Lukulele, who says constant draws after good performances is disheartening. But what I would say is that we said before what we said.
So Jack pulling up that comment.
I want to make a point. I want to make a point that before we came on air today, we said no analysis, just good hair and vibes. And I think we've achieved that, if I'm honest. So I would say that while Luke, as a personal friend, has shouted this out, I would say that this goes out to all of us, to be honest. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I think this show was always going to be great hair and vibes, and I think we've achieved that, if I'm honest.
It was something that Dom said after he saw the lineup for full time. It's like no analysis, just vibes. It's a great comment. I might have to adopt that one.
There was too many for you. There was literally is this the best signing we ever had, and the only reason I tuned into full time. And I was just seeing them as we went through the analysis. I was like, right, there's absolutely loads. But unfortunately, Mateo has just commented the same thing 50 million times. I can't even find them in the chat anymore. And with that, shall we move things up? There you go. Ard says Isabelle is fire. So there you go. We're finally. Coops, you've just got questions from your brother and Hugo. So unfortunately, you're all out. Right. With that, let's pull things together. All that's left for me to do is say thank you very much to George Cooper.
Cheers, man. I was saying before this match, I'm looking forward to full time more than I am looking forward to the match, and it didn't disappoint. So, cheers, guys. Thanks for that.
Of course. Thank you very much, Izzy Barker.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Iz. I've been Jack Collins. This has been Full Time. Thank you very much for tuning in. Look, we go to Everton. We try and get things done, and we'll see you very shortly. Peace.